Welcome to Ronny's Garage. We are holding Rolls-Royce Owners Club of Southern California's monthly tech meet. Today we're going to be looking at Silver Cloud 3. We're going to be resealing the steering ram up at the front, and we'll be looking the car over for numerous other leaks that I'm sure we can find. Even though I drained all the fluid out of this, you'd be surprised how much it'll still try to squirt you. So I clamped this big nose in a vise.
I saw that.
That was for your protection. I saw that chickening running away stuff. Okay, remember how I told you that you can see the threads? So
Yeah.
I would basically put it pretty much back to the same position. You can see that this stuff hasn't been touched by a bolt or a nut in years. So when I put it back together, I'll put it pretty close to that. And it's not as critical as the book likes to make it sound. At least in my experience. Okay, so I take this nut off. There's the lock nut. This fitting has to come off. And this is a pipe fitting on one side and a tubing fitting on the other side. There's that. You've got, what you have in here is like a sleeve that holds the seal. So I'm going to take these 4 screws out. Okay, you got 4 screws and you got a little hold down plate. And this housing is held in with a snap ring. So when it's in position, it's up against this snap ring and this housing. So you've got to press it down a little bit to get the snap ring out. So I use a soft drift and don't go near the threads, and I just kind of tap it down a little bit. See how it went down? And then they have this little hole up here so that if you put the snap ring in, you put it in right, then you can get to it. There we go, it's coming out. This little round snap ring. I normally when I put it in, I make it so an end is right there, so you can push it in and hook the end to pull it out. They did it opposite, which is fine. Okay, now that thing's going to come out. I'm scared. And I act like a slide hammer almost. There we go. There we go. So here's how this comes apart. You've got a brass kind of compressing sleeve. You've got a steel washer. There's usually a fiber washer. Just want to go down here. So that comes off. And you got the big housing, okay? Inside you have, is this original? Yeah, this is original. Okay. And then you have an O-ring. All right. That's pretty much the breakdown on how it's apart there. So you got this O-ring that seals this piece against the housing. You've got, this is called a spreader. This is a little metal kind of U-shaped circle that goes inside the groove of this seal. And what that does is it presses the sealing surfaces out. This is original. This is a fiber washer that helps compress that, and then this pushes this, and then this. They call it a wiper, I think, or a scraper. So it keeps dirt from coming in there, essentially. Now, the way this works is when it's in here, you have these rings. This is like a piston, and one side you get your fluid here. So in the one direction you need assist, it pushes from this side. And then when you change direction, it pushes from this side, coming in here, on this side of the piston. And that's your assist. Pretty simple. pretty simple. I gave up using the original seals because I just had many problems getting them to seal. This is a brand new factory seal here. This is the one that came off. Go ahead and pass that around. You guys just feel it, and you can see that. Just squeeze it.
Yeah.
So the old one is kind of brittle. Here's what I use. It's a harder seal, and it's got a built-in spreader ring. And it's about the 10th the cost.
Wow. I like that.
O-rings are us?
Are those?
I forget where I get that. McMaster Car, I think, is where I get that.
Okay.
McMaster Car. Great source. So what I just went and got, you'll see kind of shiny spots where it was coming to its end. I usually take Scotch-Brite and then I just kind of polish it. And the reason I pull it and do this is to kind of get like a cross-hatch pattern, X's, instead of just, you know, same. That's what you do for engine cylinders. They want a cross-hatch pattern. I don't think it makes a whole lot of difference, but you want to get any burrs off of there. If you see any nicks, that could be a problem. A nick can cause you some issues. I have fixed them before by cleaning it and brazing it, putting some brass on it, and then, you know, sanding it and make it smooth again. So, anyways, this is how I start. Put this back in. And this has rings that are compressed. They have gaps. So you got to be careful when you put this in here, not to catch one and break it. Inside the cylinder, it's one diameter down to about here, and then it gets to a smaller diameter, and there's kind of like a chamfer. So when you get down to that chamfer, you kind of wiggle it and then push it in.
Isn't there supposed to be an O-ring on that?
Not on that. All the sealing is in this housing. So, a good job paying attention there. Okay. This is the tricky part. The O-ring is no big deal. That just goes on there, and that goes against that chamfer down part, which it squeezes it.
Were those from a factory kit? The O-rings in there?
No, I get these from MasterCard too, and I ran into a problem where I got one the same size, and it's Buna, so it goes for any kind of mineral oil, and it was a soft one, and they just leaked around here. So I went to a harder one. They give you durometer settings. So I forget what this was, like an 80 or 90 instead of a 70. I think. Yeah, a little bit harder. It doesn't give as much, and I've had less problems. Nothing's perfect. So if you want, you can put some lubricant on there. I don't put it all the way in. If you notice when I'm dropping it in, it goes real easy until it hits that shoulder, and then it goes down a little bit. Then you gotta kind of force it so it compresses that O-ring. And you always, of course, you gotta orient that hole in it for that fitting. There. So now that's good and tight, so I know that harder O-ring is sealing better. It's not gonna float as much. Now on this seal is a little hard to get in. It's not as easy as the original one because it's harder, and you have to compress it to get in past. If you get the camera over here, you'll see that there's a little step down in here. See that step down? It goes there, and then it steps in and goes down. You have to get that in there. So what I do, let me get my tool. I use this is a little like a spoon type of tool. So it doesn't have any sharp edges like a screwdriver that'll cut the seal. And we've got two places we have to go. First, we have to get around this and then get past this without hooking on there and damaging the seal. So, of course, you want to face it towards the pressure. Any lip seal, you want the lips to face the pressure. If you go the other way, it's just going to let it go right by. Okay? So this faces down. And then I kind of walk it around till I get down here, and then I get the spoon inside and kind of pry it out. There. See how that just slides down? Now it's the tricky part. you have to get that lip down, and I push it as I go, and I get down to the first step, and I got to do it again. Okay. I need 2 of these. So this one's got a different shape to it. So I'm going to press that in and push down and work my way around to get past that lip. Well, if you did a lot of these, if you did these all day long, you'd have a sleeve that sit in there that was the same diameter as the smaller part, and just press it in. But I don't do these all day long. And it would probably take me 2 hours to make a tool. I'm old, arrogant, stuck in my ways. All right, success. If you're doing this and you press this down, you think you got it, and you see a little piece of rubber, you messed it up. You got to get a new one. And I'm sorry I don't have the part number for this off the top of my head. McMaster part numbers are really strange. Got letters, alphanumeric. But all you got to do is measure this shaft, measure the housing, and the depth, and you can just figure out what you need. It's real convenient. So that's in there. Do not lift this shaft now, because all your work getting it in there, it'll just pop right up.